dark and cold.
Where is the light?
When old man here is bending low.
Where is the light?
When the sun runs off to bed too soon.
Where is the light?
There's nothing but a skinny moon.
Where is the light? Can you tell me? Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me.
Though it's dark each morning when I rise.
Where is the light?
And it's dark when my eggs are frying.
Where is the light?
And it's dark when off to work I go.
Where is the light?
And it's dark again when I get home.
Where is the light? Can you tell me? Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. It's in my skin and in my bones, in my heart and in my soul. That light of life so bright and golden like a summer day. When the sun goes missing in the sky, it is rising in my eyes, chasing all that winter gloom away.
Hey, I'm burning bright like kerosene.
Where is the light?
And I'm twinkling like a clear deer.
Where is the light?
I'm dancing like a candle flame.
Where is the light?
And I'm flaming like a fruit flambe.
Where is the light? Can you tell me? Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. Where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me.
Welcome to WellSprings. My name is Josie Waldman. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm honored and blessed to be serving as our worship leader this morning. Each week when we gather, even when we gather at a distance, we light a chalice. It's a symbol of our spiritual heritage as Unitarian Universalists, and it also represents that divine light, that inner spark within each of us that we call upon consciously as we celebrate together. After the chalice has been lit, we'll say the words on the screen together. And together we say, we light our chalice
to celebrate the path before us, the warmth of kindness that shines
from within us,
and the radiance of wisdom
wisdom
that is shared between us and never goes out.
Good morning. Our mission here at WellSprings is to be a community charged full with the charge of the soul. And during this Thanksgiving week, I find what charges me full is to remember to focus on gratitude. It's hard. I'm constantly thinking about the future. When is this pandemic going to end? When will life go back to whatever the new normal is? But dreaming about vacations I'm going to take, family gatherings, even being back in Bell Hall, isn't what charges me full. It's stopping to remember all of the things in my life right here at this moment that I'm grateful for. Things like technology, the fact that we can connect with each other in ways that we couldn't have even a few years ago. The fact that I started a business, and even though it's really scary to start a business in the middle of a global pandemic, I'm finally doing work that feeds my soul. And it's not always easy, but it always feels worth it. I'm grateful for a place to live, food to eat, and for the people in my life, like all of you, who are worth missing. May we all remember the things that we can be grateful for, and so feed our own souls. Even though our community is gathering virtually right now, there are still lots of ways to get connected and to stay in touch throughout the week. Right now, you can see on the screen next to me all the different ways to connect with us online. And if you're new, please fill out our online connection card to learn more. The link is in the video description below. Now over to Jessica for some things we'd like to highlight this week.
Hi, WellSprings. Sorry for the handheld cam today. I have stepped outside on Thanksgiving while my turkey's cooking to bring you two quick announcements. The first is a reminder that Reverend Lee is going to be on vacation next week. So we have a number of spiritual resources set up, including our own caring team. And I will put a link to some information regarding who you can talk to in her absence into the chat. And the second announcement is just a reminder that the Angel Tree Project is still going on this year. So if you're able to help out the Heartworks team, provide gift cards for families in need, we'd love for you to be a part of that project. So I will put information regarding the Angel Tree in the chat. Hope everyone had a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you next week.
At WellSprings, the foundation of everything we do is in the power of connection, of making space in our hearts and our lives for one another. This is the part of the service where we greet one another. We can't hug or shake hands, but there are other ways we can connect. If you're watching this live at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, you can type a greeting in the chat window. You can also connect with Wellspringers on the Oasis group on Facebook. And throughout the week, we can text one another, we can make plans to Zoom. I'm gonna send a text right now to a friend from WellSprings. Thank you for connecting. I invite you now into our time of generosity. This week, we have a special message from our Generosity and Gratitude Ministry. Adam?
Hi, I'm Adam from the Generosity and Gratitude Ministry. I'd like to take a moment to tell you what I am grateful for here at WellSprings. I'm grateful for the staff and members that put together the winter care packages for our members last week. The items inside will help to make us all feel a little closer to WellSprings, while we must be apart and participate in ways akin to being in person. Also, seeing some friendly faces in person was good for the soul. As this wild year nears its end, the Generosity and Gratitude Ministry would like to know what you're grateful for about WellSprings. We may use it as part of something special this holiday season. Here's what we are asking. Record what you're grateful for about WellSprings as video and either post it to the WellSprings Oasis Facebook page, email it to stewardship@wellspringsuu.org, or text it to 484-751-7795. And keep it short. No essays, 2 or 3 sentences tops. You'll see why later. Our team is grateful for your help. Now, let's pass the hat.
We've taken time in this service to share the energy of connection among ourselves and the spirit of generosity beyond ourselves. Now it's time to connect with that deep and soulful energy inside ourselves. We do this by doing what is most simple and elemental in our lives. We take a breath. We breathe in and we breathe out without rush or hurry. There's nowhere else to go, nowhere else to be. So let's be here together. We followed these words from Thich Nhat Hanh into our time of mindful silence. If we want to enter heaven on earth, we need only one conscious step and one conscious breath. Let us cultivate peace and experience presence in this quiet time together. Wherever it is that we are, whatever it is that we are doing, however it is that we're feeling, let us remember that peace and presence is always as close to us as is our own breath. May this be so for you in this moment. May it be so for you in the days to come. May it be so for all of us. When we gather in person, this is the point of the service when our kids gather for Youth Spirit. But these days, Youth Spirit is meeting on Zoom every Sunday at 9 a.m. So for now, let's see if we have any shout outs to or from our youth in this week's Youth Spirit Yell.
Hi everyone, Carol Breslin from Youth Spirit. I have a Youth Spirit Yell post-Thanksgiving message for all my Youth Spirit friends and all the young friends in WellSprings. I was recently deconstructing our gratitude tree, a tree many Youth Spirit friends made over the past 4 years with leaves of gratitude. This was a really enjoyable project for me. I took the leaves that had names on them and returned them to you, and the leaves that didn't, I made my own little mini gratitude tree. Some of the wonderful expressions of thankfulness that you all shared over the past few years include health, cats, love, hope, playing soccer. There's music, which we can all appreciate here at WellSprings. I'm grateful for our band, for sure. And here's one, I'm grateful for life and elephants. And here's one with a great drawing. I don't know who did this one either, but for friends. And then here's something that I too am grateful for. Cheese. I get it. I love cheese too. I sent leaves to all of our Youth Spirit friends, blank ones for this year. What did you guys write on yours? I wrote truth on mine. I think when we can be truthful with ourselves about how we are in the world, about how we treat one another, we can be truthful about the mistakes we've made, and really examining how we live and how our nation lives, then we can make a better life for everyone. So truth is something I'm really grateful for this year. And I'm also really grateful for all of you. And my wish moving forward is that you all find something to be grateful for every day, even past Thanksgiving. Bye now.
La 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 la. you for it. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hey, 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 hey. You've been so kind and generous. I don't know how you keep on giving. For your kindness, I'm in debt to you. And I never could have come this far without you. For everything you've done, you know I'm bound to thank you for it. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, I want to thank you for so many gifts you gave, the love and the tenderness. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your generosity, the love and the honesty that you gave me. I want to thank you, show my gratitude, my love and my respect for you. I want to thank you. Oh, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh.
Hi, WellSprings. It's good to be with you this Sunday morning. Our series on being afraid, when I found out that that is what we were doing, it really spoke to me. It may surprise some of you, but I am someone who is afraid a lot, particularly historically. When I was younger, I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing. I'm afraid of, being inappropriate. I'm afraid of messing stuff up, bumping into things. I can be a little clumsy and awkward. I'm afraid I'm not good enough or smart enough. There's so many things that fill me with fear. I'm afraid of physical harm that may come to me because someone is racist. I'm afraid. There's just so many things that I fear. The definition of fear, or being afraid, I should say, is feeling fear or anxiety, worried that something undesirable will occur or be done, unwilling or reluctant to do something for fear of consequences. It's no surprise that I'm afraid, as many of us are. We live in a culture that sells us fear. It uses fear to sell us things, and it uses fear and our ability to be afraid to entice us to spend money on alarm systems or political ideology or deodorant and breath mints and so on. All of these things play on our fears that we are afraid that we're not good enough or we're not worthy. And look at the success of all the procedural cop dramas and police shows. They all let us know that there's someone out there who is watching out for us and can wrap up our biggest fear, which is fear of loss of life. They can wrap that all up in a nice, neat bow in an hour. And it gives us a sense that there's somebody out there who's watching out for us. And it makes us feel just a little bit less afraid. And we celebrate those that we think of as being fearless, those who have no fear. But if you really think about it, to have no fear would make you not human. I mean, it's a necessary part of who we are as human beings to be afraid. It goes to the oldest part of our brain, and it helped us as human beings to survive. If we weren't afraid, probably get eaten by lions or attacked by neighboring tribes, or we would make decisions that were not in our best interests. Fear, being afraid, is actually good. But so many of us just don't relate to it that way. We don't think of fear as being something valuable. We think of it as something we have to overcome or get rid of. And this whole series that we're doing here at WellSprings is about how to be with, how to be afraid and still continue and move on with that fear. I started out by saying that it might surprise you that I'm afraid, and I'm someone who takes a lot of risks I try things, and I'm always looking for something interesting and new to do, but that doesn't mean I'm not afraid. Fear first came into my life, the first time I really recognized being afraid was my dad. Now, my dad was a strong, independent African-American man who beat all the odds and succeeded. He grew up really poor, and he managed to do so many things, from being one of the best salespeople at Sears ever, selling air conditioners and refrigerators, to being an entrepreneur and owning a number of houses that he rented out, that he rehabbed, basically all by himself. But I remember probably by the time I was aware enough to sense what was going on, we were going to Cape May or Wildwood for vacation. And I remember my dad gripping the steering wheel and shaking, just shaking and sweating and shaking. He hated driving on highways. It scared him. It was the first time I really remember seeing my dad afraid and seeing what fear can do to someone, that shaking and sweating. And I also think, given the time, 1968, 69, I would imagine there was a good bit of also fear of driving while being black. I mean, it was a guy who was taking his whole family out on the road and driving down the Parkway or the Atlantic City Expressway down to the Parkway, down to the shore. And I know from things he used to say that the fear of being pulled over or attacked or beaten up or was a real thing for him. It was a real thing. And it was a real thing that actually happened. I've talked to a number of people who have had that experience back in the late 60s, early 70s in the city of Philadelphia. So that fear, that level of being afraid is real. The way my dad drove to the shore is one way of dealing with fear. You white knuckle your way through. You hold on and you just, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen no matter what. That's one way of being afraid. I don't necessarily think that is the healthiest way. It is a way, but it's not necessarily the healthiest way or the most growthful or spiritual way to be afraid and move forward. So many of you know that I make my living as an artist. I own a studio, and there's two aspects to what I do. There's the technical aspect, which is in some ways pretty linear. You know, you set up the camera, you plug in some instruments, and you set levels, and there's some art to it, but there's also, it's pretty technical. The things that you do are the things you do. You know, you learn how to set them up and you do them. The other side is the creative side, and that's the side that really can be pretty scary. Particularly when you decide that that is how you're going to feed yourself and put a roof over your head. And I'm sure many of you out there do creative things and enjoy them, which is how I got started doing all of this creative stuff. I enjoyed it. I loved it when I was a kid. I spent hours making something. But whether it worked out or not didn't matter, because I was a kid and lived in my parents' house and there was nothing at stake. But every day when I wake up and come down to the studio and stare at the blank screen or the blank page or the blank sheet music paper, I am filled with fear. Now, it used to be way worse when I was younger. Sometimes it would be crippling. I can think of a number of times where I found myself literally, I'm not making this up, on the floor in the fetal position, calling for my mom. It was that, it's that, it can be that debilitating, thinking about, wow, what is it that I want to say? What is it that I want to write? Even doing this message, there is a level of fear that what I'm saying won't make any sense, or what I'm doing won't connect, or what I'm saying is so far off what I'm supposed to be talking about or communicating, and I will look silly or like a fool. And there's a level of fear to that, a level of being afraid. But what I would say about all of that is, I was talking to a friend of mine about this very message. My friend Casey, and he is a former Army Ranger. And you would never know it to meet him. He's like the nicest, sweetest guy, and amazingly gentle, and emotional. I did that thing you're never supposed to do, because I told him I was preaching about this, and I wanted to ask him what it was like for him as a Army Ranger, who are the elite of the elite and are asked to do things that none of us could even possibly imagine. And one of the things he said was it was a combination for him of faith and I want to get this right. He said, following your training. And we talked almost for about an hour about this. And he also is he is someone who also went to seminary school after he was a ranger, and he equated the training to your practice. And so what that said to me was that one of the ways of being able to go through your fear, to be with your fear, to be afraid and have it as, to honor it, to have it as a necessary part of you, is to also be prepared. And to me, what that sounded like or felt like when I think about it in relation to UU practice is the practice of mindfulness, the practice of intention, the practice of self-awareness, the practice of and discipline of self-control. All of those things together make it when you, I believe, when you are afraid, all of those skills and all of those disciplines or practices will allow you to be secure in your faith that you can be with and move through your fear, your being afraid, in a more holistic way. And I thought about it because in relation to what I was talking about earlier, in relation to my work, one of the things that happens inevitably when I have that sense of fear, and I should say, at this point in my life, after 36 years of being a professional creative, that fear doesn't exist, doesn't hang around for that long like it used to. And I think that is that I am practiced in doing the things I'm about to do. I take a deep breath and I say, well, you've created things like this before, and what's the worst that could happen? If they go wrong, you try again. And you have had creative deadlines before, you've met them. And when there's been a challenge, you've worked through it. So let's just start by taking that first step. Play a note, play a chord, write something down on the paper. Take a piece of video and stick it on the timeline and see what happens. Breathe and do it again. Now, I recognize that the thing I use as an example is not necessarily a life and death situation. No one's trying to attack me or trying to physically hurt me, which, as I said, is something that I am afraid of. But I also have found in my life experience that the thinking about or the anticipation of something that I think is scary is way worse than being in the moment. And I have also found that I've surprised myself by rising to the occasion and being present and using all the things that I've practiced to have the faith and also to live up to the ideals that I set for myself. And so I wish for all of us, all of you, all of us here at WellSprings, I hope and wish that you are able to use your discipline, your practice in uniquely creative ways to support you and the ones that you love and care for in moving through being afraid. Maybe not even moving through, but just being with and recognizing that fear is just another part of being human and a necessary part because it gives us information. It gives us a sense of how we can take care of ourselves. You know, one of the things that I discovered in thinking about the subject of being afraid is that if one can have a realistic assessment of what is, it can also help one to figure out what skills that they need to bring to bear to move through the thing that they are afraid of or feeling fear around. And notice I didn't say truth. I think truth is for the philosophers. But if I'm afraid, going back to the situation that I was talking about earlier, if I'm afraid of not being able to complete something, I look around and I say, oh, again, I've done this before. And all of us here have come through difficult times before. We've come through challenging times. We've come through being afraid. So I wish for all of us the strength and the discipline to do our practice so that we may be able to walk with and through being afraid. Will you pray with me? Oh, Heavenly Father, Spirit, Gaia, give us the strength and the discipline to commit to our practice so that we may have the skill and the faith when those times come where we are called upon to go beyond what we think we're capable of. Amen. And may you all live in blessings.
Hail all the lonely nights, hail all the tears you've cried, hail all that you've survived. Hail all the honesty, hail all that sets you free, hail all that you believe. When darkness comes, that's your chance to shine. When ripples roll, you rise. When darkness comes, shine on your light, so I can get my strength from you tonight. Hail every ounce of pain, hail every ounce of faith, hail every inch of grace. Hail every ounce of cheer, hail every truth we hear, hail all that we hold dear. When darkness comes, that's your chance to shine. When ripples roll, you rise. When darkness comes, shine on your light, so I can get my strength from you tonight.
sets you free. When darkness comes, there's a chance to shine. When ripples roll, you rise. When darkness comes, shine on your light. So I can get my strength from you tonight. When darkness comes, there's a chance to shine. When ripples roll, you rise. When darkness comes, shine on your light. So I can get my strength from you. I can get my strength from you. I can get my strength from you tonight.
The light may go out, but the spark that lit it burns on. And we say, as we release this flame from its fateful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, and to light our path today, tomorrow, and always. Okay, Wellspringers, all of you have a great week. And I hope to see you online sometime soon. Peace, and may you live in blessings.